Hi friends, and welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to play around with some new products. Holiday is officially here. All the holiday sets, limited edition things are launching left and right. Every day something new is showing up on the Ulta site, the Sephora site, and I've picked up a couple things that I've had my eye on. A blush formula specifically that I've been wanting to try from a brand that I actually really do enjoy. And I've been wanting to try this specific formula out for a while. So I went ahead and picked up this set, which I cannot wait to share with you. Also another blush set. Blush is having a moment. I bought some blushes during Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty sale and I bought more at Sephora. I love blush. A new palette from Natasha Denona launched out of nowhere. So we're just going to play. I've gathered all of my things to play around with some new products and just sit down, relax, and just kind of chill and get ready with you. So if that sounds good, continue watching. I'm going to start off my complexion first. I do have my brows on. The only product that I have is the ABH Dip Brow, which I absolutely love. The shade that I have is medium brown. I forgot how good that was. I used to use that many years ago, like over a decade ago. It's so good. Then I did set them with the Too Faced Fluff and Hold and just skincare on my face. I'm going to go in with the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Primer. I did a video just on this before. I have not stopped using this primer. I think it's a really great smoothing, very blurring primer. I'm going to pair this with one of my favorite high-end foundations. So I'm going to gather just a little bit with the spatula that actually does come with the product. And I'm going to use my fingers to apply this nice and evenly all over my face. Today's foundation is one of my favorites. It's a Clinique foundation. It's the Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation. I normally wear year-round WN01 Flax. This shade here is a shade up WN04 Bone. And this is a little dark, so what I do is I add some of the bone shade into the flax. Flax is my year-round shade, as I said. So what I do is I just take mostly the year-round shade, which is flax. I do a pump on my makeup palette, and then just a tiny bit of the bone, just to kind of add a little bit more warmth and just to kind of deepen the shade just a bit. And I'm going to be using my Real Techniques beauty sponge to apply this right over the Milani primer. I love this foundation. I think it's such a good one that gives you really nice coverage. Still looks like skin. I can build this up so it's a nice buildable formula if I wanted to kind of cover up certain troublesome areas. Typically, if I break out or have any spots, it'll be on my cheek area. So I definitely could build that up a little bit and still have it look really nice. Not heavy. It doesn't look cakey. It goes over that Milani primer so beautifully, but it pairs well with a lot of the primers that I have in my collection. It's just a good one. Plus the skincare benefits in it. It's an added bonus for me. I do not have a new concealer that I purchased recently, so I'm going to pull from my drawer concealers that I know are actually really great formulas. The High Glam from Natasha Denona, I've talked about this before. It's a beautiful formula that can actually give you full coverage. But I also want to mix in my Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. The shade that I have is shade 3, which is kind of light. Even when I don't have any color from summer, it is really light. So I have to be careful with this. I do need to get a darker shade. This concealer adds some moisture and hydration to the skin. It's a nice, very natural coverage. It's not going to be full coverage. It's more skin-like. I would say the High Glam from Natasha Denona, which I use P1 in this formula, gives a lot more coverage. So I'm just going to mix the two to kind of balance out the tone of the Armani. So I'm going to use my beauty sponge and just go back and forth to blend the two shades and blend this out. Now that the concealer has been blended in, I want to set it. This is where another new product is going to come into play today. During the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, I picked up the Fenty Beauty. This is the Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder. And I picked the lavender shade because I have never really tried a lavender setting powder. I don't have any. I typically use just translucent setting powders, ones that have maybe like a tint that's more skin tone like, or just a regular face powder maybe if I'm in a hurry. But I don't have anything in this color, so I thought it would be great to try. Plus 50% off, why not? So I like the actual component. It is pretty big and bulky. It does come with this little sifter that you can kind of place in there. I have not taken the seal off of mine, and I'm hoping that this is actually going to brighten. So what I like to do for the seals is use my tweezers to kind of pull this tab. So I will be doing that with my tweezers, and we'll see how brightening this powder is. I will be using a clean powder puff. This is from the Ulta Beauty collection. It comes in a set of 3. I've taken the powder and I've pressed this into the palm of my hand. And we are going to start setting this concealer before it creases. And I'm going to do one side and see what the difference is. Maybe we'll see a nice kind of brightening moment here, which I can use all the brightening under the eyes. Okay, yeah, I actually do see some brightness. Whoa, let me look a little bit closer. Okay, let's take a little bit more and kind of brighten right in through here. I am going to put it a little bit heavier and I'm going to let it sit for just a moment and then dust it away. So kind of baking, but very minimal amount of time. I'm not going to let this sit for a long period of time because I want to get on with the eyeshadow and the blush. I'm beyond excited for those products today. So I'm trying to zip through this routine real quick. So as this powder sits, I'm going to move on to bronzer, and I get that this looks a little wild. That powder, the lavender shade, is very brightening. When you first look at it, you see that brightness, but it doesn't scream lavender. It doesn't scream purple. It's very, very subtle, but the effect of it is pretty noticeable, I would say. So I'm going to go in with some bronzer. This is my Chocolate Soleil bronzer from Too Faced, and this smells incredible. I'm going to use my multitask brush from Real Techniques. And I'm just going to start adding a little bit of warmth to balance out this brightness under the eyes and bringing some color back into the skin a little bit. Now we get to play with those new blush products, which I am beyond excited. So the first formula is a liquid formula. It's the Armani Luminous Silk Cheek Tints. I bought this in a set. It was around $55, I think, on Sephora as part of the holiday collections. When I saw that set show up under the new tab, I snagged it right away. I mentioned in the beginning of the video that there was a formula that I was very interested in trying since I saw the launch of it and hadn't quite gotten around to it, and this is the formula. I have a lot of Armani beauty products that I absolutely love, and I do think that they make fantastic makeup products. So we're gonna play with these today. Look at how tiny these are. These are the new Kosas Baked Blushes. The formula is called Blush is Life, which I agree, blush is life, right? These are minis that come in a set. It's a trio of 3 different shades, and I honestly have to say that the shade ranges that they chose for this set are pretty phenomenal because you get to try a little bit of everything. They're not all the same color family, so that's really great. But let me show you some shots of the actual packaging. When I got this in the mail, it's absolutely adorable. It already comes in a really cute, presentable box. It's already giftable. You can just put a bow and go. Like, that kind of rhymed, right? It's so cute, and it has like a little handle. It almost looks like an actual tote, right? But inside is housed with 3 really pretty blushes. So I'm going to show you some up-close shots. You get Euphoria, which I have to look up how they describe this, but it's a really soft kind of rosy vibe to me. The next shade is Butterflies, which is a really bright, cool pink shade that is really pretty. It's like that typical bright pink, which a lot of brands have their version of it. And the last shade is called Bliss, and this one to me looks like a peachy pink. So let me just show you up close, like a rosy kind of mauve shade with Euphoria. Then you have a really bright pink with the Butterflies, and you have Bliss, which is that peachy shade. Do you see the nice range that you get? I have been wanting to try one of these formulas for a while, and when I saw this, I snagged it. So if it's still available in stock and you want something like this, or you've been eyeing this formula, get them now because these will sell out. And these I think worth 30 bucks for the set, which is really affordable. They're minis, but you get to try the formula. I really didn't think through using powder bronzer and setting my face because I want to go in with the cheek tints. The shades that are in the set are shade 53, which is that really bright kind of cool pink, and shade number 62, which is that rosy mauve. So I think we can kind of maybe do a bit of layering, right? I'm not sure what I want to do because the Natasha Denona palette that we're going to use, let me show you that first. Let's just take a moment to talk about this beauty right here. This is a new launch, really came out of nowhere. I didn't see this coming. She is beautiful. Let me show you some shots up close. You can see her in all her glory. She is just absolutely stunning. If you love a good warm color story, a warm tone eye look, this palette has your name all over it. I love a good warm tones. I feel like I pull the warm tones more out of my collection during the fall and winter time. Not sure why, maybe just because it's kind of like fall vibes with these kind of rusty type shades, some bronze. I love a good bronze. If I had to pick one tone of eyeshadow that I could wear every day for the rest of my life, it would be a bronzy tone. And you do get some of that in this palette. So I love this, and I love browns. I usually reach for more brown tones when it comes to crease colors versus more cool tone like grays. I do some cool tones here and there, but I typically go for browns, sort of those basic neutrals. And even though this may seem kind of basic to some looking at this color story, there's nothing basic about her formula. Her formula is exceptional. Let's go ahead and tackle the blush first. And I'm debating whether or not I should do maybe the mauvey rose shade, because I don't know about this kind of cool pink with the kind of bronzy warm tone colors in the palette. So let's start with shade number 62. And let me just show you really quickly, the top swatch is shade 62, and then the light bright pink is shade number 53. So 62 and 53. 53 is pretty light, but very bright and kind of cool tone pink, leaning pastel. So this is the shade that I'm going to use today. I'm going to use my e.l.f. Dual Complexion brush to apply the blush. Ooh, that's pretty. I've been wanting to try this formula for a while. I have loved a lot of the Armani Beauty products that I've tried. I think that they make really great quality products that are actually good. They're an investment because it's a designer brand, but they're good. They're actually really nice formulas. And that is shade number 62. And I feel like I can definitely build this up. I didn't do as much because I wasn't quite sure the level of pigmentation. Even though these are called cheek tints, tints tend to be a little bit lighter. You can actually see that. I'm going to build this up just a bit more. Let's do this side. So I was looking at the lineup of the colors, and I almost bought the one that's kind of like a rosy kind of peach shade. Whoa, that actually, I put more on this side than this side. Whew. Let's blend this out a little bit. I almost bought that other shade. I forget the number. I will link it down below because it looks beautiful, and I think I still may buy it because this formula is quite nice, easy to work with and blend. And I was also considering 62, but I wasn't quite sure because it does look quite dark, more kind of rosy mauve, like on the deeper end. But look at that. That's so pretty, so fresh, and actually really soft and kind of natural looking. I still need to blend. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's just, I applied too much today because I'm just so excited. I think the shade Euphoria from the Kosas set is actually going to pair over the Armani 62 really nicely. So I think we might just do some layering because they're very similar in tone. And I really want to try this formula. So I figured why not just put both on, because blush is life, right? Kosas said it. So I'm going to use just a little bit of this and just lightly go over the top, and that added a little bit of color. But with this baked formula, it's going to give a subtle kind of sheen to the skin. I don't really see a lot of intense shimmer or sparkle, which I appreciate. Very, very subtle kind of hint of a sheen to it. So it's not very sparkly, luminous, or glittery. And that gave a bit of glow. Do you see that when I move my face? Yes. And then we just kind of tap this a little bit to blend. So here are the swatches of the Kosas blushes. The first one here that's more peach is Blissed, and the center one that's a bright pink is the Butterflies, and then this is the Euphoria that we applied. Really smooth, and it's very interesting. The baked formulas, they start off as a cream, and they're actually baked as if you're baking a batch of cookies, and they're put onto terracotta tiles. It's a whole different process than just a regular pressed powder blush. Very interesting, and I think that they are really, really pretty. So go ahead and snag these if you are interested. I will link them down below. Lids are prepped. I used the MAC Painterly paint pot, and then I took some of the Fenty brightening powder over the lids with the same powder puff. And now we get to do the eye look for today. So I'm going to start with the shade called Soft Spot, which is a soft, warm tan shade. It's the first color in the first row. And I'm going to use a BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy A503 brush. I'm going to tap off my excess here, and I'm going to start creating the shape of my eye, applying this color directly to my crease. Whoa, she is pigmented. Holy moly. Very pigmented. I think I picked up too much initially. Look at how easy that applied and blended. Even though I picked up too much on my brush, I should have known. I'm very familiar with her formulas, and I got too excited. I don't know what to say. I'm so excited about it. I'm taking an A502 brush from the Angie Hot and Flashy set, and I'm blending the edges out of the Soft Spot shade. I have no product on my brush yet, so I'm just using this clean brush first. I'm going to take that same brush, hop over to the shade Mellow, which is the third one in the palette. And this is like a light, soft, kind of peachy shade. And I'm going to use that, again, to help clean around the edge of the soft spot. And I'm going to just buff this really quickly back and forth. Ooh, that actually has a lot more peach in it than I expected. But it's okay. So this shade, Mellow, has more peach in it once you apply it than I thought it was going to, looking at it in the pan. That's okay, we'll do a brow highlight with something else. For my outer V, I'm going to use this shade here in the center of the palette, second row, called Vim. And I'm going to use a Sigma E57 brush. This is actually a firm shader brush. And I'm going to pat this right on this outer part. And with this patting motion, I'm just focused on placement of the color, not so much blending at the moment. I want to make sure I get the color exactly where I want it before I blend. Ooh, and she is pigmented. Love this color. It's a really nice shade. Okay, so now that I have that shade placed, I'm going to go in with a crease brush. This is a BK Beauty 212. And I'm going to start softening the edge of it first where it meets into my crease. Just going back and forth. Then I'm going to go back into that first crease brush, the A503, with a little bit more of that soft spot. And I'm going to blend right at the edge of where the Vim meets into the soft spot in the crease. Just a little bit. To soften this edge out and blur this out a little bit more. We're going to leave the crease and the lid where it's at right now. We'll come back to it in a moment. I'm going to swing down to the lower lashes with a BK Beauty 204. Taking that same Vim, which is the outer V corner, I'm going to run that on my lower lashes. So most of the color is going to be on the outer part of my eye. And as I am applying this, I'm also trying to taper it very thin as I move towards the inner corner. And I'm going to stop right here so that I can do a highlight in that inner part of the eye. So most of it out here, and then a little bit thinner as I work towards the inner corner. And let's add a little bit of Ripe, which is a bit more of a peachy kind of tan shade, which is the last color in the top row. I'm going to use that same brush, the A502, which is that kind of wispy crease brush. Take a little bit of the Ripe and go right underneath. Ooh, that looks so nice. That dark brown, and then it kind of fades into a little bit of a peach. Yes. I love this. Beautiful. Look at this. I'm just playing with some swatches to decide what I'm going to do on my lid. And I kind of just want to just create stripes of these colors on my face. Her formula for eyeshadow is the best that you can get at Sephora. I mean, come on. Here's that Phenomena shade, which looks kind of like an orange, but when you turn your finger, it catches the light and has like a shift to it. So it's kind of like a duochrome. I see kind of like orange. I see a little bit of like a copper, and then I see a little green. So maybe it's like a triochrome. I don't know, but that is so interesting. This shade, look at that. Oh, this one has my name all over it. It's kind of bronzy, but kind of like a old antique bronze type shade to me at least. And let's see, oh, Elm. This is Elm. Anchor, look at that. Wow, love this. And then this is Flashover, which is very interesting. It feels very creamy to the touch. And when you feel it between your fingers, it feels like silk. Oh my gosh. And that's a really rich brown. For some reason, this shade here called Homey, which is the second in the bottom row, is definitely calling my name. It's, oh, look at that. Yes, I think we're going to do this. We're doing it all over the lid. We're doing it. I'm going to use my fingers to pat this. I'm going to put most of it into the center and overlap where it meets into that dark brown. Ooh, yes. Look at that. It's sparkling, but it's very fine. It's not really thick, chunky pieces of glitter, but there's a sparkle to it. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. I'm going to get a lot of use out of this Homey shade. I love it. Do you see that? The sparkle, the shimmer, the glow. It looks wet on the eyes. I absolutely adore this color. You know, I kind of feel like I want to add just a little bit of something else over this Vim shade. And I feel like I should probably incorporate some more of these colors, right? I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of drawn to that Hanker shade, which is right beneath Vim. So I wanted to layer just a little bit of this. So this is what I've got on my lids. And then this one is a little bit deeper. So let's add a bit of this. Yeah, let's do that. Take just a little bit of that and pop it right where Homie meets into the Vim. Ooh, yeah. So it kind of like ombres into light to a little bit darker to dark. And then we can always go back in with a little bit more of that Vim shade on the same brush and just kind of pat right on that outer V, just to intensify what we may have lost from blending and adding color. Yes, love this so much. Lastly, for the inner corner, I'm going to go to the shade called Fancy, which is one of the lighter shades in the palette. It's the second one in the top row, and it's a really pretty champagne color. And I'm going to use a ColourPop brush. This is actually an E26. So I'm going to take a little bit of that and go right in this inner corner. And I'm also going to use that just a little bit right underneath the brow bone, so I can get a little bit of a highlight and a little bit of a sheen there. Look how pretty that looks. Next up is liner and lashes. Eyeliner is optional. You don't really have to do that with this look if you don't want to. You can just go in with some mascara. But I'm going to use the Perfect Brown shade from Makeup by Mario. And then my mascara today is going to be the Macstack Mascara. So I'm going to tight line and do a very thin line with the same pencil on my upper lash line. Mascara and liner are done. Now I get to do a lip look to go with this eye. And I'm kind of debating between a few different shades. So I've got the Huda Beauty Pinky Brown, then the Wherever Walnut from Makeup Forever, and then Out of Line from the One Size. I'm trying to do something a little bit more a bit more warm to go with this lipstick from MAC. This is the shade Honey Love is what it's called. This is from the Maximal Matte lipstick formula. So I'm not quite sure which one would be better suited. Maybe we should try... I like this formula a lot from Makeup Forever. So let's just line really quickly. And then let's go in with that Honey Love lipstick from MAC. Oh, it smells like vanilla. Yay. And here is the MAC Honey Love lipstick over Wherever Walnut from Makeup Forever. Okay, wow, this lipstick formula, even though it was a matte finish, I only ordered one shade during the 21 Days of Beauty at Ulta because I wasn't quite sure. I'm typically not a matte girl, but this actually feels very creamy and very comfortable. Not drying whatsoever, and I love that color paired with the Wherever Walnut from Makeup Forever. I feel like this lip liner kind of gives a bit more of a sculpted look to the lip and helps ground the Honey Love, which is a little bit of a lighter nude type of shade with a hint of warmth. I feel like goes well with the eyes. And then there's a little softness, a hint of rose coming through from that lip liner that kind of pulls in that cheek. So I feel like this is a really nice lip combo for this eye look. But as I mentioned, I am a gloss girl, so I want to put some gloss on. And this Fido Lip Balm in Watermelon has won me over so much from Naturium, right over the top. I just love how everything came together today. I am just so obsessed with this eyeshadow palette. I cannot say enough good things about it. I know this is my first time showing it on camera. I am very familiar with the Natasha Denona quality, and this is exceptional. The shades are absolutely beautiful. The range of mattes and shimmers, the metallics, the color story itself is beautiful. If you haven't tried her formula yet, I definitely recommend that you try her eyeshadows. She's got the midi palettes. These will run you around $69. And then she has smaller ones, larger palettes, a nice range of color stories, a nice range of tones. It's beautiful. They're absolutely worth the investment. And I think that the quality, I've often said this is some of the best that you can buy at Sephora. Hands down, I adore her formula so much. The cheeks, let's talk about those blushes. They're beautiful. Both formulas are incredible, and I'm so happy to have them. The lip combo, perfection. I know that the only new thing is the lipstick. I've had this lip liner from Makeup Forever for some time, and it's a really great solid formula. Super creamy and easy to use. The lip balm, don't get me started. I love these lip balms from Naturium. I have so many of them, and I did pick this up recently from Ulta. Overall, I think that the makeup looks really beautiful, and I can definitely repeat this look again tomorrow and the next day, the exact same eye look, because this is absolutely beautiful. It's smoky, there's some richness, some depth, that sparkle. Ugh, I just cannot say enough good things. And I think you gather by now how much I really love the end result. I hope that you had fun with me today, getting ready and seeing some of these new products being applied and demoed. Everything is going to be listed and linked for you down below. Subscribe so we can do this again in the future and play around with some more new products. You can also find me on Instagram. My username pops up here on the screen. I hope to connect with you there. Take care, you guys, and I'll catch you very soon. Bye-bye.